This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with my weekly review of the points I find interesting in the Wrestling Observer newsletter. There's a lot more that I don't talk about that I'm not interested in. So you guys can order it yourselves if you want all the details. It's freezing out here today. It's negative 26 right now in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, and it's supposed to go down to negative 40 tonight, which is crazy. 3 years ago, I was in LA wrestling Sabu. It popped up in my memories. I wrestled him twice. I would much rather be in the LA weather right now. But I'm doing better than Lanny Poffo, who was born in Calgary. I remember one of the reasons I used him a lot, he had a Canadian passport. It was easy for him to get across the border. By the way, I did post a match compilation video of Lanny in Great North Wrestling. The link is in the description. He had a lot of matches for us, and not all of them are included in the compilation. But going through that and editing that yesterday brought back a lot of memories. Of course, he was best known for being the brother of Randy Savage and also for his secret talent, which, if you want to know what that is, search on this channel. Lanny Poffo addresses rumors. He was in New York this week when he passed away, doing autograph signings and staying with a friend, and apparently he was found dead yesterday morning. It was an unknown cause of death that occurred suddenly. However, apparently he had been living in Ecuador where he was having breathing difficulties due to allergies. He had been living there, I guess, for the past few years, of course. Not only did he save his money well, but according to reports, he was getting Randy Savage's royalties from WWE, and he was he was the one that agreed to have Randy Savage put in the Hall of Fame, because Randy had said adamantly that he did not want to be in the Hall of Fame unless it was the Poffo family, including Lanny and Angelo, inducted as a family like the Von Erichs were. I believe Chris and Mike Von Erich were inducted in the WWE Hall of Fame, whereas Lanny Poffo certainly did more in WWE than those two. So Randy had a point, but Lanny didn't want to hold out. They definitely would have agreed to it eventually, without question. And there was a couple more notes from Meltzer here. I mean, I don't buy this anymore. Like he says here, Lanny had told friends he was doing a fruit and nuts diet that would allow him to live to be 100. Now, when Randy first died, and he actually didn't just tell this to friends, there's actually a video on my channel of him talking about this diet. When Randy first died, he was doing a diet that was fruit, nuts, and distilled water. He lost an extreme amount of weight. But I've seen pictures of him in recent years, and he did not look like he was still doing that diet. So obviously he had slacked on it a bit because he was not as lean as he was. And I'm not saying it would have been hard to keep doing that for years and years and years, but I do remember in 2011, you can look at him when he wrestled for us in this match compilation. Then 2012, which are the first couple of matches are from 2012, and he got really lean, and that was because he was doing this diet because he was afraid he was going to die of a heart issue like his brother and his father. But as time goes by and the deaths get further away, obviously, sometimes you don't stay as motivated. But who knows what the cause of death was? It hasn't been released yet. So we're very sorry about that, and definitely if there ever is a Great North Wrestling Hall of Fame, Lanny Poffo was the first ever Great North Wrestling champion, and he allowed me to promote the only official Macho Man Randy Savage memorial show back in 2011. We had 1,200 fans there, and I will always thank him for the contributions. And again, contrary to popular belief or some false narratives out there, the reason that our friendship actually broke up was because he got back on good terms with WWE and wanted me to take down all the videos where he had talked negatively about WWE when I had paid him to do those videos. So that was the break in our friendship. We still remained friends after he stopped wrestling for us. There's a video out there from 2012 of us having dinner together. So the true narratives are he when he was getting paid from me and wrestling and actually needing my payoffs, he was nice to me. But once he started getting the royalties, he didn't need me anymore. So he didn't remain friends. So there you go. And for those, and he was very bitter about a lot of stuff. He talked negatively about a lot of people, and I'm not laughing at his death, but he always talked very downward about wrestlers that didn't live to be late into their senior citizens. He always talked, as Meltzer reports, that he thought he was going to live to be about 100, and was very negative about the wrestlers that passed away young. Even his brother, he did mention that his brother had done a lot of steroids, and he felt that he was going to live to be much older. So it's ironic that he didn't reach 70 when guys like Billy Graham are 79 now, and the Iron Sheik is in his late 70s. You can never predict how old someone's going to be. And as I said, he actually told me at one point he thought I was going to die before him. So people can say what they want. That's a mean thing to say to somebody when they're 28 years older than you. But yeah, he was very arrogant and confident in his belief that he was going to live to be very old. So it's kind of ironic, but overall, very comical guy, very eccentric guy, humble as far as he never had an arrogant attitude like he was a big star or anything. And once he did get that Hall of Fame ring, he did wear Macho Man's Hall of Fame ring. As I saw it, the last time I saw him was in Philadelphia a few years ago, and he was wearing that Hall of Fame ring. Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley won the 2023 Royal Rumbles, respectively. And the smart marks, including Dave Meltzer, loved the angle with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, despite its predictability. And apparently, the Royal Rumble storyline with the Bloodline and Sami Zayn, Dave Meltzer is calling the best WWE storyline in years. Again, something this predictable, I can't say it was great. And I did do a video on this channel explaining why I didn't think it was great from a realism point of view. If you don't care about realism and you like long drawn out promos and stuff and you like predictability, sure, it was great. Meltzer also praises the spot of Logan Paul and Ricochet in the men's Royal Rumble, which he says was the most memorable spot. I saw this spot. Okay, and keep in mind, okay, I am a fan of Logan Paul's podcast, and I have all the respect in the world for Logan Paul for his success. I've done an interview with Ricochet. I have nothing against Ricochet, but the spot that they did for anyone that hasn't seen it, they both do springboards and they just crash into each other in the middle of the ring. It doesn't look like they're trying to do anything but crash into each other. We don't see it. It looks like they're doing punches, drop kicks, or whatever. It looks literally like two people are jumping from either end of the ropes and just trying to crash into each other. So, well, it is an impressive display of athletic ability from a point of why the hell are you doing this? It doesn't make any sense other than you just want to show that you can do it and crash into each other. I don't get it. I personally don't get it. Are they both great athletes? Yes. Apparently, the Royal Rumble had 42,000 paid for 7.7 million gate, according to Meltzer. And it was the most watched pay-per-view WWE ever had. However, it's not like people are paying $60 for a pay-per-view like they were in the 90s. The Peacock network is $4.99 a month or $50 a year. And you get all the other Peacock content. So you don't, it's not like the WWE network was what, $10 or $12 a month for just WWE content. The Peacock network, even people that aren't wrestling fans buy the Peacock network to get everything on Peacock. So yes, I don't even know if you want to call it a pay-per-view because, yeah, you have to be a subscriber of Peacock to watch it. Or if you don't have Peacock, you could still buy it on pay-per-view. But it's not like people are individually paying $60 and they have the largest or whatever it would be now with inflation. Maybe it would have been closer to $80. But like, would it have actually been the most watched pay-per-view if people actually had to pay and buy it individually? Because $5 a month is nothing for all of Peacock. If we could get that in Canada, I would have it. But we can't. In Canada, you still have to buy the WWE network. And you can't buy that without cable. So in Canada, you got to pay whatever, $80 for the lowest cable package, plus the additional $10 to $15 for the WWE network, which is not worth it for someone like me. But yeah, just to put that into perspective, yeah, they are getting a shit ton of money from Peacock. They're making huge profits. But my only thing is, would that many people have watched it if they had to individually pay? There was still people that bought the pay-per-views, and there was about 18,000 people that bought the pay-per-views worldwide, from my understanding. So Brock Lesnar, I guess, has been confirmed now to be at the Elimination Chamber in Montreal, as well as WrestleMania. I wonder if that means Lesnar will be here in Ottawa for the Raw the night after Montreal, if he's going to be in the area anyways. I assume so, yes, which will be the first time he'll have been in Ottawa here since I can remember. Would have been maybe over a decade. He was here years ago for like a SmackDown back in 2002. But I'm sure he's been since then, but I just can't remember it. As far as other WrestleMania matches, they don't know who Lesnar's going to wrestle at WrestleMania. They wanted him to wrestle Austin, but they couldn't come to a deal with Austin at this time. They couldn't come to a deal with Dwayne Johnson, whose mother, by the way, who I've interviewed, was in a car crash recently, but she survived and she's doing okay. You can look up my Ada Johnson shoot interview on this channel. Ronda Rousey is also going to be at WrestleMania, as well as John Cena. John Cena will likely face Austin Theory. It looks like it's going to be Logan Paul against Seth Rollins. And as I've said again, that to me, they should have kept Logan Paul against Cena, because Cena's much better known than Seth Rollins to the mainstream. And I think more of Logan's fans would have been interested in watching him against Cena. Rey Mysterio is going to wrestle Dominic Mysterio, and the Usos are supposedly going to wrestle Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens, as people have been predicting for a long time. The senior vice president and head of global sales of WWE says they already have about $15 million in sponsorship for WrestleMania, and there's going to be a sponsored match similar to the Lights Out match that was sponsored by Mountain Dew at Royal Rumble. There's going to be a post-show press conference that's also going to be sponsored. And again, these press conferences, nobody's asking the questions about Vince McMahon or any of the questions people really want to know. They're more like kayfabe press conferences. They're not like UFC where people grill Dana White on the real questions. I don't even know what the press credentials are to get into these press conferences. Even though I am the number one wrestling YouTube channel in Canada, I'm certainly not getting invites to it. Nor does AEW invite me, even though I have a more popular YouTube channel than many of the people they invite to their press conferences by far. Nick Khan says Vince McMahon is willing to leave the company for the best deal, and he expects negotiations with NBC and Fox to resume for the following TV rights deals after WrestleMania. Triple H says, and of course Vince McMahon runs the company, he's excited to be working on the creative process with Vince McMahon again. The WWE had over 1.2 billion in revenue in 2022, which is great. There's another lawsuit against Vince McMahon related to stockholders. Again, they're going to sell this company, and I could see them selling to a private company for sure, just to get rid of these stockholder lawsuits. Batista was trying to get a role of Bane in the new Batman series, but apparently they're looking for someone to be a long-term Bane. It's going to be not just one movie, but many. And he's 50 now. To maintain that much muscle for 15 years, he would seriously be lucky to be alive. It's very hard on the heart to be that size. I mean, look at Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's had several heart issues, but Batista said at 54, he doesn't see himself fitting into that category of actors for the next 15 years. And obviously he's moving on to more dramatic roles. Apparently there's been a lot more cuts on the corporate side of WWE since Vince McMahon has been back. Apparently these are likely in preparation for the sale. Kevin Nash said he was invited to be at Raw 30, but turned it down. He doesn't want to talk to people about the death of his son. In ratings news, Power Slap was down to a 0.09 rating this week. Dynamite did a 0.31 from Dayton, Ohio, before 4,100 paid. NXT did a 0.13 rating. Raw did a 0.64 rating from Tulsa before 6,100 paid. SmackDown did a 0.67 rating from Laredo, Texas, 6,700 paid. Impact did not get a high enough viewership to get a rating. New Japan did not get a higher enough viewership to get a rating in the 18 to 49 categories. Women of Wrestling, again, they don't get enough credit. They did a 0.06. We hear so much about Impact and New Japan, but people don't talk about Women of Wrestling, even though it gets way better ratings than Impact and New Japan every week. AEW is going to be doing house shows called House Rules starting on March 17th in Troy, Ohio. John Moxley is going to be the star of that house show. He's pretty much by far going to be the biggest star. They're not using MJF, Jericho. I don't even know if they're using the Young Bucks or Kenny Omega. They weren't announced for it that I could see. But apparently that same weekend, John Moxley was booked for shows in Ireland that it looks like he's going to have to pull out of now since he's under AEW contract. Meltzer brings up that he doesn't know if AEW is going to be able to draw 2,000 to 3,000 per house show, and about a year ago, that's all that WWE was drawing for the majority of their house shows. Sorry. Meltzer brings up that now WWE is drawing more like 2,500 to 4,500 for house shows. But again, they've cut out a lot of their smaller town house shows. They're coming to big cities less. Like I remember in Ottawa, here they used to come every 3 months. Montreal, they used to come almost every month. Toronto, they used to come almost every month. Now they come here to Ottawa like once a year. Sorry, it's freezing cold here and it's making me sick. But yeah, they rarely do Sunday house shows anymore. So there's a lot less live events by WWE, and Meltzer's basically saying it's going to be hard for AEW to be profitable doing that. The one thing I don't understand about AEW, instead of doing house shows, and I said this in the news last night, they tape Dynamite and Rampage and Dark the same day, and it's like 5.5, 6 hours most of the time. Why not make Rampage live or tape Rampage on Thursdays and not have the shows as long, and then it's like 2 TV tapings rather than a TV taping and a house show. I know it might be more expensive in some ways, but honestly, how many people want to sit through 5 hours of wrestling other than the absolute super fans? That would be a turnoff for a lot of people that are just casual fans or people that are going to wrestling for the first time and seeing the shows are so long. I mean, that's a turnoff. Tony Atlas said, like, and he's smarter than a lot of people think, particularly in wrestling. He might not be smart in everything, but he knows wrestling. And I remember him telling me, like, crowds are ready to go after 2 or 3 hours. They don't want to see more than that of wrestling. It's overkill. But I don't know. I would say make Rampage a separate taping every week, but whatever. Tony Khan can do whatever he wants. He's the billionaire, of course. So he definitely is more intelligent than me. I will give him that. The 40-year-old Maria Kanellis, who was in AEW, even though I guess she's one of the ones that aren't used much, is having her thyroid removed. She looks great for 40. And I do remember the funny thing is she was CM Punk's ex-girlfriend, and they brought her in after the CM Punk fiasco. Apparently, he's still sitting at home collecting a paycheck. Good for him. I mean, AEW is the best job ever. It has so many wrestlers just sitting at home getting paid for doing nothing. That's amazing. For a guy that's done crappy jobs such as working at a sawmill and I've done various warehouse jobs, to have a job where you're making at least 100,000 a year to sit at home and do nothing or like get paid but do your own projects, that is amazing. I don't understand how people can complain about that. Conor McGregor was hit by a car on January 27th while riding his bicycle, but did not get seriously injured. In Bellator on CBS this weekend, Ryan Bader against Fedor Emelianenko in what is another one of Emelianenko's retirement matches. Francis Ngannou apparently is still in talks with Tyson Fury's people about a boxing match. It'll be interesting if he could get the $8 million for that he turned down to fight John Jones. Jake Paul's doing a boxing match with Tommy Fury, the half brother of Tyson Fury, in Saudi Arabia, February 26, 8 rounds, 185 pounds. And that's it.